Test 2. Hello, welcome back to the stream. Today we're doing some UI UX jamming with Annie, who we had on stream yesterday. And so we're going to look at making some UI straight in Unreal, straight in Figma. We'll be dual sharing our screens, we'll be collabing this. So join us and we will get started on that. Let's jump over to the dev collab here. And I will unmute myself on Discord. Hello there. Can you hear me, Annie?
Yes, I can. Hello.
Awesome. We are live. We are on the air.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah. I've got a couple of things on the stream view right now. I've got your Figma. I've got my Unreal Engine. I've got a to-do list, a timer. So we've got an hour and a half. And so, yeah. The deal is we're gonna make something cool. We're gonna make some kind of stylized radial of some kind.
Heck yeah.
Heck yeah. All right, let's
Heck yeah.
you got something here. Let's have a look at what this is. What's this?
Yeah, so I remember we kind of mentioned that we wanted something a little bit more explosive, very Jet Set Radio inspired and Persona inspired. So I just have a few references here. And just looking at all of these, like, just want to see like what really resonates with us and what we want to do. Some other similar styles that have like that bold, explosive visual language, like Destruction All-Stars. There's also Warp Drive, and yeah, just a bunch of games here that use a lot of like very bold shapes, very explosive, like very unconventional UI, that steers away from just that sterile grid-ish layout, and then some similar like design languages, Y2K and graffiti style. These are a little bit different, but they do have like similarities sometimes. So just want to see, I guess, which direction we're kind of leaning towards, and if this encapsulates what we had in mind.
Oh yeah, this is hot. Like, this is exciting. This makes me want to make some UI, because it's just, you don't see it every day, and it says like animation and I love that sort of part of UI dev. So yeah, this is really exciting style library that we've already got going. Super excited. I love the graffiti stuff. Yeah, like anything that has like, you know, multiple panels of splash coming out of like just that unconventional, like you say. It's not like your typical like single border with fill and some text that's like just like kind of boring. It's like all jarred shapes and things like that are also a challenge to actually produce. I thought would be cool to find out how we actually do that. And I'll probably
so I guess like one of the
things.
Challenges on this jam is like still keeping it not too chaotic, and still making sure that like players can read, players can see what's going on, but still having that really cool, like you mentioned, explosive effects. And yeah, I guess that'll be one of the challenges for us today to get through.
Yes, make sure it's readable, usable, actually, and for me, functional. Because I got to build this. Well, I'll try and build this in the stream, so that's the fun. That's part of the fun. So I'll bring up. I'll need to share my screen to you actually. I'll bring up something that I had also in mind that you might like. I'll share the screen that everyone else can also see. I'll just bring it up for them a little bit larger. Okay. So there is a UI. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, so we've got, what have we got here? Let me find the reference. It's Beyond Good and Evil UI. So we got like images. You see that's with this wheel? Check this out.
Yes. Oh, very cool.
It's a spiral, and it like, so you can have as many elements as you want, and I guess as you move your mouse or your joystick, it's actually traversing this spiral. And it was one of the ones that's been on my list for a while. It's like, I haven't seen this in a game in a while, and also it looks like a technical challenge. But with that splash style that we've got on the ideas page you were showing, it could lend itself as an inspiration there. there's also other Spiral UI. I saw one of the Spiral UI. I mean, it comes up as like one of the first ones over here as well. Cool little Spiral UI. Someone's got one here as a radial menu in VR. Yeah, that was the only thing that's been on my mind that I just wanted to share. So I'll leave that there and then jump back, make sure my screen is shrunk, and I'll write this down in the task list as well. In particular, it's got to be a radial menu that we're building, right, of some kind. Mm-hmm. And so the idea of something that me and Mike and others at UXIF came up with once was a game idea where the player can only equip one UI at a time, and they can open some kind of inventory, in this case a radial, and pick a UI. And as they pick it, the current UI on screen sort of like animates away and the new one comes in, and maybe the camera perspective changes and their abilities will change. So a good example is there's an icon or something in this inventory or wheel that you click that that is like the stamina climbing bar from Zelda, like the circle bar that fills up, right? And when you equip that, now you go into third person and you can climb. And so you can climb up a bit of the puzzle level and get to the next section. And then let's say there's like a long distance like glide that you need to do. We'd find a game that has that mechanic in, and we'd basically parody on their UI. So we'd say, oh, okay, so you've got to equip like some Fortnite UI that allows you to do like the aerial glider thing. And so your Zelda UI goes away, and now your Fortnite whatever UI comes in, or whatever game it is that we find as a good reference for a glider. I mean, I know Zelda has one. It's just a bad example, but maybe another example is like you equip a Diablo bar, and so everything else goes away, your Diablo bar comes in. Now you've got like a big pool of health, a big pool of mana, and some abilities that we give you, and so you can fight some enemies in this arena, and simultaneously your camera goes into top down. So you're basically playing through this puzzle platforming game that's got maybe some inspirations from like It Takes Two, where there's like lots of little mini games in the game.
Yeah, sounds very cool.
Yeah, but to express it, we need to come up with some ideas for what those core abilities will be. Like even just 3 of them is enough. Then we're not going to build those today. I think I could build those off cam, because what the most important part is actually the interface of like changing that ability. I think like just that's the core, right? That's like sort of the thing you're touching all the time. Is you're always going to be pressing whatever button it is, say it's right mouse button or tab, to pop that open and then interact with it, and then have then I can go off on other streams with yourself or other artists and build out loads of different cool UI and gameplay that feed into that wheel and become like a little showcase. So that's the dream, that's the vision. And starting off with the base, and doing something really exciting with these styles that you've collected. Yeah. So radial menu is going to go on the list. Bam.
Very
of
cool.
Some kind.
Do we have, I guess, 3 core mechanics we want to get started into thinking about? That would be added to that radial wheel, just to
so we can get an
like
idea.
A good start. Yeah,
an idea of what we would do. They are driven mechanics in that sense. So they drive a mechanic that you get given when it's equipped. So it's iconic games, right? We just need to think of some iconic games. I would do the Zelda climbing one. Should be one of them.
Yes, like I said, climbing, stamina.
Yeah, some stamina wheel. And it needs to be a parody, right? It needs to be like, when someone looks at it, I hope that they would be like, oh, this is the Zelda climbing wheel. And that's supposed to infer to them a little bit like the old PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, like mashup games that companies used to do, where they like paid homage to like the greats of the recent few years. And so, the Zelda wheel is just a really easy and simple. I've already got like some climbing stuff that I've done in the past. I won't hook it up today, but the UI will at least be hooked up. Yeah, a second one, I think some kind of like, I don't know, like a Halo overshield would be a cool one, or even just like the weapon UI that you have in the bottom left, and that will take you into first person, give you a gun, and then you can shoot some stuff. Like that's pretty simple. Like Doom, Halo, Destiny, any of those that we can riff on. And the reason I like those more is because again they're more stylized than something like Grey Zone Warfare or Tarkov. They're a little bit less awesome. Another one, so a third one. So now we've got third person, we've got first person, and so we should go for a top down. Because I can whip up the camera angle stuff today and sort of like express like as you equip these something changes. So for the top down, have you got any ideas? What's a good top down?
Ooh.
It can also put you in a helicopter if it wants to, like, or into an ace combat vehicle.
That's interesting.
It can do anything. Like the whole idea is it will do whatever that UI would do. So let's say it was like the Need for Speed vehicle, like speedometer. Like you would equip that, and suddenly you'd like transform into a car, or a car would appear and you get in it, and you would now be driving. So it can be anything that you want, as long as it's top down in this case, because that's the only constraint for the last idea.
Yeah.
It's a good top
I
down.
wonder. Yeah. Suddenly, when I get
Hades.
asked what is a so and so, my mind just blanks. But
yeah.
Hades is a good one.
Hades is a good one. Hotline Miami is another. I mean, I just like Hotline Miami. I don't even know if it has any UI, to be honest. Hotline Miami. What UI does this have? Hotline Miami UI. So I'll just open this in a new tab and bring it over. Let's have a look here. So am I still sharing that screen over there?
Yep.
Cool, yeah. So Hotline Miami's UI is literally an amount of ammo in the bottom left if you're holding ammo, and an amount of points in the top right, and a cursor, and you just go around killing things. I'm not super keen on that. That's not very exciting. That's not extremely exciting. The other one was Hades. So let's look at Hades UI. This might be exciting because they've got a similar vibe. Another one that another resource we didn't show yesterday for people interested in UI UX in games, interface in game. So I'd say it's a little bit less complete than Game UI Database, maybe.
Yeah, I do think Game UI Database is more updated more regularly. Because actually there are some games in interface in Game UI that aren't on. So you just have to kind of look through both to see if they have the game that you need.
Exactly right. So for this one, I guess just not first-person combat, but top-down combat. I'm wondering if there's any more locomotion-based top-down stuff we can do though, like top-down classic games. Just trying to open up the list. Give me more. It's not giving me many. I'd like to not do combat. Oh, core keeper, I wonder. Core UI. I mean, I have made an inventory recently, so this is a weird one in which you'd have an inventory that is your UI and your radial wheel, and then when you equip this, it remembers whatever items you had for like mining through walls or something. So this game's about, I don't know if you've played this, but it's about just mining and collecting resources and building a base.
This reminds me of Stardew Valley.
Yes, yes.
Anything, resource management, building.
Yeah, it's very Stardew style. And so, yeah, I mean, it could be the case that we hop into a top-down view and interact with like that. I'm trying to avoid combat, right? So this is more like mining, at least, which wouldn't be as synonymous as Minecraft for mining. Top-down game UI. A lot of dungeon stuff. Oh, I love these. I've always wanted to make a book thing. Oh, so that's what we could do. We could have an equipable quest log.
Yeah, quest log. That would be interesting.
And like this one even has like player stats and some other inventory bits in it. In this one's case, I mean, it's quite detailed. But I mean, my favorite one recently for quest logs was Eternal Strands. It's like a quest book journal thing. It just had some amazing artwork in it. Oh, that's like 300 units. that is not a good image. Yeah, this. Let's go back to my stream view here. Yeah, I loved this. Like, it's got your map, it's got your quests, it's got like inventories and your settings and stuff all in here. I would love to do it where it's like the book is just one part of this, so either it's a map or it's a quest log. So this obviously the map screen, but the quest log for this one. Where is it going to be? Quest log. Yeah, here we go. It's not a great image, but they're a bigger image. I would like a larger version of that, please. Eternal Strand quests. I guess the critical part of a quest log UI or a journal UI is the fact that it like changes page. So it would be an idea to have like quest log and map in like this particular UI. So when you equip it, it like just brings it up on screen, I guess.
Yeah.
And so we could play with that. And so that's less of a point of view and more of just a UI that we would play with. So how's that sound?
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
3 different items in that Radial. Because yeah, we need to think about their visual style. I guess like how do we say what it is?
Yeah, so for this game, have you thought about like how the puzzles would be like, or is it right now we're just working on the mechanics and
straight up,
eventually
like,
we'll think about like how
nothing
equipping would solve it.
Nothing has been decided, to be honest. So if I think even just like my first project here is a good base without doing much. So you're a character, there's a world, like a platforming world. Let's say you're already in third person to start with and you've got your climbing wheel attached, and you would press this button to bring up your Radial or whatever UI it is that allows you to pick a different ability, because you get to a certain point. Let's say you climb some wall, but then you've got your second challenge, which is like, oh, there's a room of enemies. If I just walk in there, I die. In particular, because I don't have any health, because I don't have a health bar, so it's one hit, one death in this case. As soon as you equip the like first person UI, you get your overshield, you get your gun, and you go into first person. And now you can run through that area and shoot a couple of those enemies out and get through that challenge. And now you've got a shield, right? So you can survive a few hits. Once you get through that challenge in first person, you get to another area of platforming, for example. You might climb up that and do some stuff, and then your quest log was just an idea of like, you should probably have a quest log to tell you like what the goal is, whatever the story might be.
It would be interesting, like what if you can just like equip a health bar so that you don't die in one hit, and then you can like equip even more health bars in the future. Like, you're kind of
I like that.
Your wheel.
Yeah, I do like that.
As, like, health bar.
So you can have different slots, I suppose, right? Where you can have something equipped in the top left, bottom left, top right, bottom right, bottom bar, top bar. You could have stuff equipped around your character. Like eventually, so you could equip a lot of different inventories to sort of mix and match things. The reason I went with one at a time is because it's simpler to implement from a gameplay perspective. Like I'm not having to consider all of the impacts of like multiple things all at once.
I was also imagining like to get through the room, you have to go through a bunch of enemies, so you can either equip your weapons to try to kill them all, or equip your health bar so that you don't get killed in one hit and you're just gonna run through them towards the exit. So
another thing you could have, there could be another way as well as we build this out, is like you could equip, if you found the item in the world, let's say like you've played the game, you've found some of these cool equipable items. One of them, one second, I've got the police. So
the police are here.
Yeah, they're suing me for infringement. No, it's an homage. So The one idea we had was you get like a hood, and the hood, when you equip it, it gives you that eye that you have in a lot of stealth-based games that like is open when you're visible and closed when you're crouched and hiding, like the stealth eye. So you have it in Skyrim, you have it in Thief Shadows, you have it in so many games, and so now you can stealth out of that challenge room, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then another one could be like I recently made actually, and I'll open it up if I can. Recently, I think it's this one. Core here, hit play. We've got this Soliton radar, right? So you could equip this, and essentially you just end up in a box, like you're in a cardboard box, right? So you equip the Soliton radar, now you're in a cardboard box. You can sort of move around this room. You're in the top-down perspective as soon as you equip it, and you're sort of moving around this fun little gameplay space that's like, there's a lot of guards, and they're all on patrols, and I could go through here with my Halo gun. I could go through here trying to stealth it in a first-person immersive sim sense, or I could take it in the top-down orange cardboard box approach with a radar that helps me see where the enemies are. There's all kinds of things in terms of options that I like the idea of from an achievable standard. When I think about combining them at the same time and having like, I've got my health bar, I've got my shield bar. If I equip a racing car like HUD, I guess now I've got a car that has a shield and a health bar, and then if I have the climbing HUD on at the same time, it's like, what does that mean for a car? The car now has like stamina for speed boosting, I guess. So it sounds really fun. But for now, let's stick with just doing like one at a time. I guess.
For game design, it's best to keep it simple, and keeping it simple will naturally lend itself to, like, those constraints can make a game way more fun.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
And in our case, achievable.
Yeah, achievable in our limited range of time of just working on a jam every once in a while. I do have like the list that we have. So it's climbing. We could have like weapon equipped UI, stealth eye, the top down radar thing, maybe even a health bar and quest log. I think from these we can choose perhaps just 3 to get started and see how we can like design this wheel with like kind of the visual concepts that we have on the left here. So any of these, we could just pick 3 or 2 even that like kind of that you would want to get started, and I could just start adding to as like a placeholder for on this radial wheel.
Yeah, and we can just say like use these 2 20 times so that we can see what it looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Let's go with the 2 super simple ones. Actually, no, two different points of view. So let's go with the top 2, I think, because it's going to give us it in. As I click on them, I can actually have an event happen, or when I select or whatever we do, is it'll at least visually change point of view for today's demo. What I can do is...
So it'll be for these 2, right?
Yeah, we'll start with this.
Weapon equipped and climbing. Perfect.
Yeah. So the Halo one actually has like an element at the top of the screen that's like the overshield, and then the bottom left or something, it's like the weapon. But we could just stick it to it's just the overshield. So it's just like you can soak up damage now, but you don't have a gun. But either or. Are we going to go with this like crazy spiral idea as if I was to block out like the concept of a wheel? Would that'd be fine, right? I can start.
We can play around with it. For today we can start with like a wheel idea, and then whoever comes on next this stream, they can also provide some more iterating as
I'm just double checking like functionality wise. We can go with a typical like straight radial that spans out or whatever, that's flat, but if we're going for a spiral, I have to curate it a little bit differently. So it depends on what we're excited for.
Yeah, I think that would be up to you then. Like I'm open to whatever is technically feasible, I can just like
Oh, I
iterate on
want
a
to try.
few
I want to
designs.
try the spiral for sure.
Hell yeah, let's go. Let's do it.
All right, I'm gonna be quiet and let you like take the stage, doing the Figma side, and then I'm just gonna start building out essentially a block out of what we see on that spiral there, where
Mhm.
I press a button and a bunch of elements appear with an arrow that shows me where I currently am on the wheel, and then I'll start being able to climb up and down it. And I'm gonna be quiet. You can ask me questions. I'm chatty, so it's
For
fine.
sure. Yeah.
But
When I design, I might also be a little quiet. Actually, would I be able to just get like a little screenshot of a third-person view of just like your
yeah,
little model within Unreal? I'm just gonna start mocking up what
let's do
could
a third
potentially look
person.
like.
I need to get a first person view as well. Let me open up the. Let's jump into here. So this is just the typical third person view, but probably over shoulder slightly, I imagine, for adventure game. So we might want to pretend that that's over shoulder.
Cool.
And then the other point of view, and I'll just edit this quickly and hopefully not destroy it, is let's get this camera boom, just set it to 0, just move it up here. I mean, it's first person.
Awesome, thank you. That helps.
That should be it. In fact, I could and should maybe move this over the shoulder slightly for that first screenshot. Yeah. If that makes any difference for your screenshot. It's like
Yeah,
minor.
all of these work.
It's minor, but it's over shoulder. Alright, I'm gonna make a new folder. Let's go Yuxif Jam. Alrighty. What does everyone in chat think about this wild idea that we can chip our way over the different streams, where we just add different UIs to an interactive experience? It's a puzzle platforming UI is your inventory game. Let's see if anyone's chatty today.
So just to vocalize what I'm doing for anyone watching, I'm just gonna storyboard little few wireframes about just the flow of opening up the Radial menu and then selecting something, and then the UI appearing. Just gonna do like a little gray box mockup first before going into just iterating and experimenting with that art style we had before. Oh, Ren, really quickly. On
Mm-hmm.
stream, I don't think you're following me anymore. I
Oh,
don't
is
think
it
people
like
can
paused? Is
see.
it paused? Is it paused? Oh no. Oh yeah,
Or
it
I just
stopped. Yeah, it stopped. Okay, I'll keep an eye on it. It might be because of like me not focusing on it. Can you try moving around?
Yep. Is it working?
Yeah, it's working again now. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's because I got the stream thing open as well. Let me try it that way.
Yeah, I think at this stage we can also just like show them mainly your screen as you're just blocking things in. Because right now I'm doing is just early exploration. It's not that exciting yet.
Sure. Which means I'm going to talk. If we're looking at my screen, I'm gonna be talking. Okay, so the checklist is pretty light right now. It just says radial menu. But the radial menu in particular is actually, we're going to change the name of this. It's a spiral menu. It's something inspired by Beyond Good and Evil. It's quite unique, and it's not something you see every day, which is a challenge. So I've popped open the gym here, and I'm just going to save this as a new level. So let's pop this into our UXIF jam. We'll just do level underscore test, I suppose. Okay, and then in here I need to set up my world settings. So we'll go to, let's have a look. See if I can get, just before I get too far into this, is just put this down here. Cool. Okay, so for this game mode, we've got a UXIF game mode that I've made. GM UXIF game mode. Cool. And I've got to set a few other things up too. So it's just sort of like the basic setup. The watch paint dry portion. So we've got the HUD, we've got a player controller, and I do need a character. So I'm going to steal the character that we had. Actually, we might even have a third person like default character here, who's a cool little character. We'll steal that. Might move that into core because it's our character. So BP character underscore UXIF jam. So in here we've probably got a bunch of stuff that we don't need, like these cameras. So we'll get rid of those. Now we just have our character. We've also got this obscure mapping context. We're actually going to make a new mapping context. So I'll put that in inputs folder. Mapping context IMC underscore, and we'll call this UXIF jam. And we'll make sure that that's applied there. So that's just set up. It's not got anything in it yet. But that's where we'll have like the button for opening the Radial. In fact, we'll stub in the input for the Radial as well. So input action, IA underscore. I guess we'll call it menu. One thing I thought would be really funny, Annie, is like if you want to change your settings, you've got to click the.
You gotta equip that.
You gotta quit the settings menu. Yeah, if you want to like save the game or quit the game, you gotta like open up the escape menu, which is its own little like hamburger menu in your Radial.
Oh, that would be funny. It would be frustrating, but in like a intentional
thematic, yeah,
game design way.
Yeah, in a thematic way. I'll call this spiral menu. IA spiral menu. Cool. And we'll throw that into here. IA spiral. And for now I'm going to have that on... Oh, what button is good? Right click isn't good because in a first person game we'll use that for aiming. I'll use tab. Tab's good. And then we got this IA demo here, so we don't need that. This should be our inputs graph. Just get rid of any materials that we don't want. Find references. Yeah, we've got this init widgets function that we don't need. which is just all cleaning up our base class. In fact, what I find annoying is I must have at some point accidentally done all this Claire Obscure demo work in the third person controller, which we're just going to delete all of that so that I can more easily copy this in future. Bam, bam. Cool. Alright. In fact, I could just have then extended this from that character, but it's okay. In our inputs, we'll have IA spiral. And we're just going to set up some base functions for ensuring that we have like the state managed of whether we're in or out of that radial. And so to do that, let's think. Instead of putting it in here, I could put it in a component. So let's think about how that would feel. Blueprint actor component, which is our BP underscore spiral menu component. And in here we'll have our input, and this will have a state. And the reason for this is just code management. I don't want to basically bloat out our character with this code when I could put it in a component that just keeps it self-contained. Additionally, it doesn't need to tick. It just doesn't need to tick. Just keep it lightweight. And we'll just have a variable for open. We'll have a function for set spiral open. What I like to do with these is say if the incoming should open is not equal to our property for being open, then we're allowed to change the variable. Do some couple of little administration tasks here with regards to delegates. My cat has been rubbing up against my microphone. It's covered in hair. She must have jumped on my desk at some point. Okay,
she wants to join on the fun.
Yeah, she wants to be a streamer. Okay, cool. So here we're just going to make a delegate. This delegate is just going to allow us to listen to this in various places. So we'll call it spiral menu open changed. We only have one spiral menu, so we don't need to report the class because we're not going to be binding to several of them. Unlike our marker system, where we actually output the markers, we made another stream. So we'll just output open, drag this in. So I'll show you how this is used quickly before we move too much further forward. If I add this component now for our spiral menu, it will have a little event down here for spiral menu open changed. And if I click that, we actually get a print inside our character, so we can do different things in our character now. Let's say whilst the menu's open, we might change camera view slightly, for example. Which would not make sense because you've got so many different camera views, but let's not think about it too hard. But that's the concept there, and in other classes as well, if you get a reference to this, say you're in the hood, you can just assign to changed. And that gives you a nice event that you can use for that. But for now, let's do some debugging. Let's just print string and just make sure that we're open or closed. So anytime you press this button, what do you think, Annie, for UX is like, should I hold it tab down and then like move my mouse or joystick around, or maybe if you're on gamepad it's a different button, but do you have to hold it down to keep it open and then let go to select, or do you tap it to open it and then move your thing and then click a button to select?
I would lean more towards just holding it, so you can like pop in and out really quickly.
Yeah. Okay.
So like on the spot you can.
Yeah.
Just like a faster, intuitive motion.
Yeah. And so when you let go, that's the thing that you equip. Unless you, I guess, press B, which might just be like cancel. I don't want to do anything. So we'll do here is completed, and it should not be open. So let's take a look. I need to actually pick the character that we made. as our game mode character. So that should be the game mode fully set up there. Of course, I'm outside the sphere because I think the sphere has collision. So we'll just turn the collision off on the sky sphere. Cool. And then press tab, true, while we've got it held down, false when it's put away. So that's cool. Let's go and make some UI. Just like blocking out the UI here. So I'm going to make a UI folder. We're going to hold a widget blueprint in here, widget underscore spiral menu, and we'll duplicate that into spiral menu underscore item. So those are our two components that we're going to fill in, and then in the spiral menu I'm going to have to figure out how to, I'm going to need a math, and I'm going to need a lot of, there's got to be some kind of opacity, I guess. I'll just close this down. I'm going to take a look at Annie's stream a sec. So yeah, there's like a static spiral that doesn't move, that doesn't actually move. The elements move on the spiral, and as they get, I guess, as they get closer to your camera, they fade out, and further from your camera. And there's like a center area where you're actually selected. But as you move that arrow, oh yeah, go on.
No, in this, you're absolutely right. Like in the center, as it's closer to the center, you see it kind of leave off of the screen almost, and like it fades out. And then also on the outside. And then once it gets closer to like this, a middle area of some sort, where you can actually click on any of these spirals, that's what it becomes closer into view.
Yeah. Okay. Wondering if it, I need to double check that video, because maybe that video will give me a quick idea.
Yeah, I think that will give a, like anything in motion is better for reference.
Yeah, Beyond Good and Evil spiral. Spiral is the spiral static? I can't tell. It looks like this. It looks like the spiral is moving. I'm finding it hard to understand. Let's try one more time. So you move your mouse, and as you move your mouse, the element you're on is the desired scale, and everything else is fading into the background. I'll send you this link if you don't have it.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
I'm trying to understand it from a tech perspective, like kind of trying to. It's there's just several things going on at the same time.
Yeah, it seems like. So I wouldn't know what it's like on the back end, implementation wise, but like it looks like it's spinning. Like the position of where like the arrow is to where like it starts to fade is always the same.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, the arrow pointing at the element always stays at the whatever the desired size is, and then everything that's sort of like, let's say in an array below it in the list is just computationally smaller, lower opacity, closer to the center, and that gives it the sense of it being further down and in. And everything above it in the list is slightly larger, also slightly less opaque, but and further away, right? Like the distance is increased as the element goes up in the list. So ultimately, might be quite simple to code, because really there's just a circle that is your plane of. So yeah, okay, yeah. I'm gonna try and script this. It's gonna be a little bit horrible because I'm gonna use transform scaling, so it just means that we need to produce the assets at like 2 times size. Hopefully, we'll see. I don't know. We'll see. This is a tricky one. That's the point. It's a tricky one. Okay, cool. So firstly, let's just get an array. And let's make sure that this actual item here has a visual representation. So I'm going to jump into your Figma and steal one of those.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I need a flat, straight upward orientation one. Can you get me one that's just straight up?
I got you. Let me just take this one outside and do that, and then what is like a? I think this should be. Actually, you know what? Let me take the start. Just cadoodling with the zeros. There we go.
So it's perfect.
It looks a little off to me. There we go.
Yeah. Will I be able to export that as like the square that it is?
Let me make it a bit smaller. And
oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah, you should be able to now.
Okay.
It's not a really good dimension. We talked about yesterday's stream about like the pixel dimensions. This is not great.
Oh, it's temporary. Right now, it's just temporary.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. I know what you mean. Yes,
218.3. Yeah, never have decimals. Never have.
There's some UI designers watching, cringing as we import a 238.2 by 213.8 pixel dimension asset. But yeah, eventually I guess 128 or 256 by 256 will be good.
Yeah. What's interesting about these is like once we style one of them, you could just I could just populate the design all over.
Oh wow, it's like instant spaced.
Yes.
Nice.
That's why it's good to have things in components, which I actually didn't do here, but I will do later.
Okay, so we'll call this T underscore. I'll just call it a spiral tile. And we'll stick that in to our UI here. It's not actually big enough. There we go. 64 by 64. And in order to render this in a circle, we might want to set the pivot to 1 in the y-axis, so it's actually pivoting from the bottom. Let's just bring up my stream overlay again, just make sure that we're all still live. I'm not following you, so we'll do that again. Okay. So we have an item. That's enough for now. Let's just draw it in a circle to start with. So to do this, we'll actually have a canvas panel. Will be a bit of a pain. And the reason is because if we look at the desired size of a canvas panel and then actually add a item, it changes the size of the panel, right? And you can say draw a desired scale like so, and you can say it's 0.51. And now when we angle this, oh great, it doesn't do it as I was hoping. Despite setting the anchors up, just rotates it from its origin center. Let's take a look at that in here. See if it's that. No, it's just always angling it from its center, which is annoying. But the idea is, look, the canvas is larger now. We've got this transform scaling. I guess it won't matter as long as it's on screen. What I basically don't want to happen with the canvas panel is if I get another element and I actually offset it to the the position to the right, you see how the canvas starts changing. And so as we're zooming in and out and our elements are becoming different positions like this, our canvas is just changing size and things are going to get a bit jittery. So we might not want to use a canvas panel. We might just straight up want to do this with like a construction script property in here. Make sure that this is actually wrapped in a button. Actually, no, it doesn't need to be in a button because you're not going to click on it with your mouse. But let's make sure that we do have set transform. Me? Ah, great. Set translation? Ah, cool. So our render translation, I think we're just going to offset the Y. So stick this in as as an exposed variable. Get an overlay into our spiral menu. This will still change in scale. I basically want all of them to be anchored like directly to the middle, and then shift and offset them on tick, just as visuals, just images with states or a hierarchy of images. It'll be like the tile and then the actual icon. The tile will have, I guess, a couple of different hover states and click states, or overlay. Again, overlay might not work. I think the best thing to do here is like essentially a clamped canvas. So we'll get this canvas here. We'll do a width and height. Just say 512. It's fine. Stick a canvas in there. And we'll stick our first, and this is just for testing, stick our first item in, and we'll say it's always anchored center at the size it wants to be at 0.51, and then ideally the idea is we're going to rotate it like this, and we're just going to offset it in its local. So you see how this is actually X and Y on the canvas. It doesn't matter what I do to the rotation, and that's why we put the translation into the element itself. So if we scroll back up here and we play with this translation, it's actually inversed. But let's just let's just call this distance. Oops, distance. We'll have a function, perhaps the function set distance. And I guess we'll call it refresh distance. So we'll call refresh distance on preconstruct. This does we'll just do it the other way around. So call this new distance. So this is the new distance. That's what it's going to be, which refreshes the distance. We have a refresh distance code, which just does the one thing that we want it to do, just in case we want to change the behavior in the future. Which, if I remember, this is multiplied by -1 because it's inversed. Happy there. Refresh distance, set transfer. Okay, got our refresh distance here, got our refresh distance on construction. So in our spiral menu now, we can set that. Okay, cool. I wonder if we can do the rotation as well. So let's create a function just called set rotation. And this would get slot as canvas slot on self. And again, this is just doing it inside this item so that in case we want to change how it works, we have a function for set rotation. So we'll call this rotation, new rotation in this function. Similarly, we'll have the refresh rotation function. Refresh rotation. Slot as canvas slot. Let's ask if it's valid. And if it is valid, set angle. Can't set the angle of that. Let's set the position. Set angle. So render transform angle. Let's see if just setting the render transform angle works. It's exposed. Let's go here. Spiral item in. Center aligned. 5-1 enter. And then just play distance angle. Yeah, angle's not. Oh, angle's not doing anything because we didn't call it. There we go. Yeah, so this is actually working fine. 0, 45, 90. We'll just keep adding 45 at a time here. So now both of our properties are inside of our item, which is super neat. What we'll do now is we'll start, we'll just create a circle. So functions, call it create spiral items. And for now, we'll just do a for loop. So pretend that we have an array of data that we're going to draw, but I'm just going to call this num items -1. Okay. Then create a widget for every single one of these entries. It's the item. Spiral menu item. We're going to add it to that canvas panel. Canvas panel spiral. Oops, spiral. Okay, it's not letting you do it because it's already named, so you can just name it something else and then type spiral. There we go. Love Unreal's like case sensitivity is like you can't rename your accidental capitalization because it's the same name as it was before. It's like, okay, I'll change the name to something else and then I'll fix the capitalization. So we'll add this as a child. Oh, canvas, add child to canvas. And this will let us set those alignments. So we set the alignment to 0.51 and we set the anchoring to 0.5 across the board. So center of the space because it's all in 0 to 1 space. Nice and easy. And then for the distance, we just need to do some math. So I'll promote the index to a variable. Which just helps me clean up the graph a little bit. So we can get index now. And we can multiply this by yeah, this just basically starts to become the fun part. So rotation per element, and or what would you call this? It depends how many you can draw in a circle. How many of these can you draw in a perfect circle? Do you know?
Oh, I'm not too sure actually.
Oh, I'll figure it out. It's fine. I'll be able to just play with the number like in real time, and it will just basically crunch and uncrunch them. So we'll do rotation per element. We'll do that as a float, and then we'll do distance or default distance. And the idea is that we increase and decrease that default distance based on the number of them, but first we're just going to draw a circle. So the distance is just always the default distance, which we'll say is 100. And then our rotation per element in here, which we'll start off with just start off with 10. See how that works. And then in our event graph, we can actually pre-construct this and clear our canvas panel each time we pre-construct. Clear children. And this, calling this function on our pre-construct will just let us test in editor without having to press play. We go here, we look at this cool widget, we look at the number of items, we just say 10 items. So that is not correct. Let's just increase the rotation per element. Oh, we also need to set size. So something that we didn't do to our drawn canvas panel element is set auto size to true. So we want this to be the size it wants to be. So now we have our little spiral. So we could drop 15 of these. So at 12 elements, it's 30 rotation per element, and we'll say, just judging by what I'm seeing on the main design, just changed a little bit. So we'll play with those variables later. Okay, so okay, now what we need to do is the real fun. It's just because they do need to shrink as well. They do need to have a render scale. So let's set render or set scale. Let's see what happens when we set the render scale to index multiplied by, how do we do the scaling here? I guess we could map the range. Unclamped. I cannot map the range unclamped. So this is also going to depend on which element we're actually looking at, but let's just say we know we have 12 elements. Let's just go from one scale. I think as we go, so it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's going to get, I think, larger as it goes upwards. Oops. But we'll just say 1.5. Did I do it wrong? Oh, I did 0. So we've got kind of our upwards. We also need to increase the distance by the, just a smidge per element. So so it's the default distance plus index, I guess, multiplied by, and we'll just pick a value for now. Let's just pick 5. It's quite intense. But it is enough. The rotation per element needs to have an offset per element as well. What kind of game you guys building for this jam? It's hey Thiago, we have this like game idea, I guess, just a loose game idea that is your inventory is your UI, or your UI is your inventory, and so you have to equip a UI to solve a puzzle. And there's like loads of different types of UI that change your camera perspective, your abilities. A good example is if you open up your radial wheel or your spiral and you pick the stamina circle, you'll be able to climb walls. You'll go into third person perspective. It's a parody or a riff or a homage to Zelda. If you go and equip your overshield bar, which is inspired by Halo, you'll get an overshield. So you'll go into first person and you'll play a section of the game and solve a puzzle in that regard. Or your settings menu will be an element within your radial. So you can only ever have one UI at a time in this current iteration. We were talking about the idea of like mixing and matching multiple UI. I think we can do that in the second the sequel. Do it. We'll get it on the next one. So I worked with a designer, and whenever we had a cool idea that we were like, oh, but it changes the scope quite a bit, he was always like, we'll get it in this. We'll get it in the sequel. We'll get it in the next one. I actually only have 19 minutes left, which is fine. We'll just crack on with this another time, I imagine.
Yeah, it'd be cool to bring in some other folks. Just to jam on it once in a while. Yeah.
You've seen where I'm at with the simulation. I haven't got the fading done yet, but it's somewhere.
Yes. Right now I'm just experimenting a little with the color, and then I think eventually, hopefully, you can maybe even find some different shapes for each of these tiles, because it doesn't have to be a little circle slice. It could be literally anything. It could be triangles, maybe ovals, who knows.
Yeah. Rotation offset. Do this by 10s. Really do this by 12s actually. This would always be by power of pies. We'll do to variable distance offset. I think it's distance. It's render scale. So it's render offset. Distance is also going to need an offset. Okay. So that just breaks everything because some of the variables aren't set up. Render offset 2, 1.5. Okay. I need to like go to the drawing board with this rendering method because it's it is what it is. I need to just figure it out. I had before something that was like, okay, pretty cool. I think I've got enough controls now. Edit, delete unused variables, yeah. Okay, so we do have a spiral, and then if we go look back at our reference from this game, it's a lot cleaner and a lot less crazy. We should play with the render opacity as well. Set render opacity to it will be the render opacity will be the distance to our actual currently selected item, and so I need to rearrange all of this logic to be like based on the distance. There is a video from GMTK that he is exploring ideas to fix the link to the past inventory UI, and there is a similar menu there. I don't know if it can help you checking the result. Yeah, I'll go take a look at that. So, link to the past has a similar inventory, huh?
Oh, I remember the endless kind of scroll.
Here, GMTK link to the past. Oh, an endless scroll bar like this is like
Imagine being able to build anything.
like
just by
mega
thinking.
simple. It's just a scroll box. It's a scroll box, no? Oh no, no. Here we go. There's a radial there. That's cool. Yeah, little radial wheel.
Over-engineered solution, but it is genuinely cool and legitimately quite fast to use with an analog stick. It basically has all the benefits of the radial menu, but can hold many more items than can be comfortably shown on screen at once. So, how can we make this thing for ourselves? The 2D then goes even with some
It's doing 2D, 3D. Yeah.
as its pros allow you.
Yeah, he's got the lucky. He's lucky. He's using Unity, which has a 3D solution for UI creation, so you can actually use depth and actual perspective to control a decent portion of this simulation, where you would just control the perspective of the camera and actually move it backwards in the depth, like actually move it backwards in the depth, which is pretty cool. I'm doing it all in a 2D view, so once I get the rendering in, I think it will be a little bit nicer. So call this scale offset, and then we'll get a new variable here. It's like opacity offset. Zero. Zero to 12, go from 1 to 0. So each. Oh, what? Spiral item design here. Let's look at the render opacity on here. Yeah, it does. It does do it properly. Something's wrong in my code. Oh, setting the render opacity of the entire spiral menu. No, didn't mean to do that. Let's go to the designer. Okay. That's pretty cool. And we can change this to change how far that happens. Oh wow, that was pretty funky. Yeah, that's neat. I just need to get this drawing downwards as well, like away. So some of this needs to be based on distance. Some of it needs to be based on. Yeah, we've still got 10 minutes, so maybe I'll be able to do that. No, yeah, it is helpful, and more in particularly because it's a really high res video. To Thiago in chat there, it's a really nice high res video.
This is a hilariously over-engineered solution, but it is genuinely cool.
I do really like it. But yeah, this is what we're trying to make. Yeah, you can see when he shows it. Yeah, he gets ChatGPT to help him with the math there, which is cool. But you can see this here. He's actually drawing it in a z-axis, which is what I'm simulating in a 2D space. I've got most of what I want, and then I just need to add a variable that's just like current index. It's going to be a bit of a pain because let's get the arrow. Let's get the arrow in at least. The arrow. Wrap this with an O. It's fully aligned. Go to here, add an image to our overlay. We don't really have a triangle right now, but we do have this PlayStation triangle symbol, so we'll use that. Okay. The cat's one out. Okay, so I think I need to go back to the drawing board. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool, but it's not there yet. In particular, I started by just drawing a spiral that fades in and out, rather than thinking about the controlling of it. So I need to go back to the drawing board. let's wrap up here, at least for a nice clean end to a stream. How's your stuff going over there?
Pretty good. Just exploring some kind of colors and shapes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, wouldn't have known that this would take so long. But so far so good. Got like a little stamina thing going here.
Yeah. Nice.
Pop in. Zelda green is not that green. There we go. I believe this starts from the top. Just gonna add that in for now, but yeah, a good start. Good start.
Yep. It's expressing the intents, which is good, and it looks cool. Like it's got to the tiles are looking really interesting.
Yeah, hoping that whatever progress comes next can kind of push that like bold, explosive. Maybe just find some more room to experiment with the shape language a little,
Yeah. Just
and
gonna
just find a
export.
nice balance for the colors.
See if I can import that one of those versions in here. So if I get the spiral tile and I go re-import with new file and I say this, so this is what it looks like in Engine right now. And if my screen's still sharing,
Yep.
yeah. So
Oh,
we've
very
got like,
interesting.
so we can have like, I don't know, 64 tiles, and then you can see how that they're all there. I just need to work on some more of the logic to get it
Mm-hmm.
to shift them all based on this current index
Mm.
that I've started. And then after I've imported this out, I've noticed that like the rotation offsets are slightly off, so I can just pull those in to get those a little bit closer together, and maybe the distance needs to be slightly more increased per entry. And so it's a bit of sort of play there. And then I might want to
Yeah.
actually rotate their internals as well. I didn't think about doing that, but like it might be cool to rotate the internal element, because right now all it does is it rotates it based off 0. It doesn't have an additional like um personal rotation, I suppose you could call it. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Once I get this current index working where it actually changes the map to move all elements at the same time, you'll start to get that essence of like it being a explorable radial.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty fun little
Very cool.
experiment stream. I might crunch some of the numbers off stream before we sync back up to do another one. Because I think, well, actually, I don't. I mean, you're going to be finished way ahead of me. I think, possibly, yeah. By the looks, you're doing great there. Pretty cool, though.
Yeah, designers' dilemma is always like there could always be more to change in terms of the design. So it's just
Yeah.
knowing when to stop it will be
Oh
the
yeah.
challenge here. Just gonna add
There's a
a
person
little
in
bit
chat
of
here
arrow.
saying, this person in chat called and he says, or they say, hello, I'm a UX UI designer, designing mostly in Figma, and I would like to learn Unreal to bridge the gap between my team and the colleagues implementing our design. Do you have any advice? Question, Annie, have you ever wanted to learn Unreal?
I have. I've been
Or
looking
Uni?
into Blueprint mostly, but I've
Mm-hmm.
not gotten far too deep. So would I actually love to hear your advice as well from this question.
Yeah. He also says, I don't have any coding experience, and most courses are barely covering UI implementation further than basic boxes and buttons. I should make that course.
Yeah, that'd be great. I
uh,
think the viewers would really enjoy that.
yeah, I should make that course where it's just like, let's go through a whole bunch of things. I'm sure there's some stuff I've seen on YouTube about creating UI.
Yeah, there's definitely
Yeah,
a lot of online tutorials.
so
I
I'm
believe.
showing this guy right now called Matthew Wadstein. I think he stopped doing this, but basically he does like a what is this element, and he goes through like a whole ton of the elements. So that's a good one. Just to get what I call like the literary out the way, like or literacy. So yeah, he says I would get that course. I'm like, yeah, man, sweet. I don't know I don't know if I should. It would stop me doing streaming because I'd have to stop and make a course. Yeah, so this Wadstein guy, he goes through the literacy, and the literacy is part of the problem, right? It's like not knowing what the options are, and the things that sort of bridge the gap between if you can fill and clip and rotate or change the layout or horizontally align a bunch of elements in Figma, how does that look in Unreal? Once you get the literacy, you start seeing the patterns and the similarities. I think that's a good starting point. Let me see if I type this in, if I see any people that I'm like, oh yeah, I followed this person. I mean, go and take a look at the UMG lab, the Advanced Material UI lab from Unreal's Epic content themselves. There's a UMG UI inventory tutorial series directly from Unreal. I would trust that over anything because it's built by their engineers. So yeah, one thing to do is just like UMG tutorial. In fact, I would just go to Unreal Engine's page. Like straight from the horse's mouth, right? UMG. And so there's a bunch of stuff here. There's actually a couple of GDC talks as well that go over some of this. And so if I type in like GDC widget, I think it'll come up with there's Ben UI. Ben UI is a great person to help you bridge the gap. Well, not bridge the gap necessarily between Figma and Unreal, but at least learn Unreal UI. And he does C++ as well, so that's helpful. You can call me Ren UI if you like. Someone made that joke recently. Maybe it was
That should
like
be your online nickname, Ren UI.
no, I'm not doing it. This is a bit on the nose. Optimizing and building UI for AAA games. I really like this one by Rocksteady. It just has a couple of like the sort of do's and don'ts, like, and I've done some of those don'ts a few times just for a previs. It's like putting canvas panels everywhere, or not using materials effectively to animate things that you do through sort of like raw sequencer that can be a bit iffy. I'm trying to find the one. Is it Unreal Fest or Unreal Summit? Unreal Fest UMG tips. Come on. It's a really good one. It's gonna bother me forever. Unless how many minutes have I got here? Oh, we're actually out of time. But I will. It's actually one of their lead like UI tech designers as well. Tech tips. I'm not closing this stream until I find this, but you're welcome to go, Annie. I'm not going to keep you on the call. I'm sure you've got a laundry list of things waiting in your inbox. But thanks for joining.
Yeah, this has been great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I've had fun, and we've produced the first step on the way to a cool spiral inventory that will be the foundation of a really interesting hyper stylized, I'm going to call it. I don't know. what you would call this. It's
Yeah.
it's super stylized and funky. It's funky and cool, and I love
Yeah,
the art
funky.
style. I really do
Yeah.
love the direction. So yeah, thanks for joining and helping out with that, bringing your
All
talent to
good.
the
Yeah.
table. Yeah, and I'll see you in the next one. We'll sync up
See you in the
again
next one.
soon. Bye bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Cheers. I'll turn Andy off on there. So Andy's left the call. I can turn off the Figma. And we're going to go back and we're going to find this resource for you. Person in chat called we're going to find this. So let's turn off these two assets here and let's just go looking. We'll go in hunting. So this one is part of the material lab, sort of overviewing the material lab. Very cool. Oh, that's Sam. That's Sam. That's Sam's face. Okay, so I'm not. My Google Foo has failed me. Unreal Engine, UMG. It's like it's a talk about layout, basically. There's this one by Scott H. I have seen this one. This bridges the gap between Web UI and UMG. So if you're into Web UI and you understand it, this has a lot of comparisons to some sort of Web UI thought process, right? So and then he does web versus UMG. So that one's really cool for that. Just going to go to LinkedIn over here and find the person's name. It's going to be quicker to do it this way. Unreal Engine lead UI or something. I can't remember. We will find this resource because it's a nice one. It's like reactive UI in UMG basically, or creating assets with sort of like modularity in mind. Adrian. Is it her? Or them? Oh, it was there the whole time. It's just because their face wasn't in it. I wasn't clicking on it. But yeah, advanced techniques. This is the one here. Actually, no, it's not. This is someone else. But I have watched this one as well. And actually, it's the same content. It's actually the same content. I can see here. Oh, because they were doing it on stage and one was at home. Yeah. So this is the one I'm thinking of, in which they make some really cool elements. Where's a good clip in the video here? So you can see all these elements and how some of them are animated, and they've basically got some nice panel control and some wrap boxes and things like that to control these elements, and some light blueprint logic to control various things. And so they can draw this element in multiple ways because how their scale boxes are oriented and configured. Really cool resource. This is the one I was looking for the whole time. It was there the whole time. UMG, Unreal Engine talk, basically one of the top ones, if I remember, or if I say GDC here. I don't know, maybe I couldn't see it, but that was the one. That was the one I was looking for. Now I can rest at ease and prepare for my next bit of my day. So yeah, thanks for joining us, everyone. We made we started a spiral UI. We can go further into this in another session. We've got like a variable number of items with like rotation per element, which is cool. They can have a little bit of overlap, which is cool. We can reduce that distance a bit so that they fall in, and we've got this like opacity distance. That rotation offset we could increase. Yeah, we can do some fun things with this foundation. And the idea next will be to use this current index to actually rotate the whole simulation. So every render opacity, every render scale, every rotation and distance on these inputs will be controlled by sort of the current index that you're at. I keep looking at the camera, but there is no camera here. There is no camera here. Scene. Here's me. So back to my webcam. Thanks very much for watching, everyone, and I hope if you enjoy these UI UX jams, we'll carry on with them. Of course, we would love to continue sort of jamming together different characters from UX if coming on board, and collabs with anyone, really. If you're interested in joining me on stream and building something, please reach out and we'll have some fun. We'll do some stuff on stream. So thanks everyone who joined us. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.